Many of us have probably encountered a shirt that's still beautiful and fits well, but the collar is too wide, making the shirt look less neat and sometimes even making us feel self-conscious. Throwing it away would be a waste, and taking it to a tailor can be time-consuming. But actually, with just a few simple stitches, we can easily narrow the collar at home without having to disassemble too many parts of the shirt. In today's video, Ruby Home will share with you some easy ways to fix a wide collar. This method doesn't require a sewing machine. All you need is a needle, thread, and a little dexterity to make the collar fit more snugly, look more balanced, and still maintain the original shape of the shirt. Now, let's get started. First tip. First, fold the two edges of the collar together so that both sides are symmetrical. Then, use a piece of tailor's chalk to accurately mark the center point. After marking, open the collar and lay it flat on the table. Next, use a ruler. From the center point just marked, measure 1 centimeter to the left and mark it. Then, measure 1 centimeter to the right and mark another point. These two marks will determine the amount of fabric to be gathered, so you should measure carefully to ensure that both sides have equal distance. Now, I'll place the ruler diagonally to connect the center point with each of the points I just marked on either side. After drawing the lines, we'll have a small isosceles triangle right in the middle of the collar. This is where I'll sew to narrow the collar. Next, I'll start sewing along the lines I just drew. To make it easier for everyone to see, today I'm using thread that's a color that stands out from the fabric. When working on my shirt, you should choose thread that matches the color of the shirt so that the stitches will be more discreet and harder to notice after completion. First, I bring the needle from the inside up to the pointed tip of the triangle. Then, I poke the needle to the left edge, then continue to the right edge. Continue sewing back and forth between the two sides of the triangle, each stitch even and spaced a suitable distance apart, until I reach the bottom of the triangle. After completing the stitch, I gently pull the thread. You'll see the fabric in the middle start to shrink into small folds, naturally narrowing the neckline. Now, just adjust the folds to be symmetrical, then secure the thread firmly on the inside of the shirt. That completes the first trick. With just a few simple stitches, the wide neckline has been neatly reduced, making the shirt fit more snugly around the neck while maintaining its shape and almost without affecting the shirt's appearance. Moving on to the second tip, I'll guide you on how to adjust a collar that's both narrowed and adds a small decorative touch, making the shirt look more refined and fresh. First, I'll do the same as the previous tip. I fold the collar in half so the two edges align perfectly, then use tailor's chalk to mark the exact center point. Next, I'll use a ruler to measure from the center point to both sides. This time, I'll mark each side 2 centimeters from the center point. After completing these two marks, I'll continue measuring from the center point vertically downwards 4 centimeters and mark again. Now, I'll use chalk to draw straight lines along the marked points. First, 2 parallel lines going down, then connect the bottoms to form a small square right in the middle of the collar. This will be the area where I'll sew to narrow the collar. Next, I'll start sewing. To make it easier for everyone to follow, today I'm still using brightly colored thread. I bring the needle up from the bottom right edge of the square, then sew to the left edge. Continuing, I bring the needle back to the right and then to the left. I alternate between the two sides like this, stitching evenly, until I've gone the entire length of the square. After completing the seam, I gently pull the thread. At this point, the two edges of the fabric will gradually contract and hug each other, naturally narrowing the neckline. I adjust the folds to be balanced, and then secure the thread firmly on the inside so that the seam won't unravel during use. Now, I want to add a small accent to make the shirt look more attractive. I use small pearls and sew them along the seam I just created. The pearls are attached in a continuous line up to the end of the 4 cm section, cleverly concealing the seams while creating the illusion of a pre-designed decorative detail on the shirt. So, the second trick is complete. With just a few simple sewing steps combined with small pearls, the collar is not only more streamlined, but also becomes more prominent, feminine, and elegant. An old shirt thus gets a new look, allowing us to confidently wear it again without needing to take it to a tailor for alterations. Finally, I'll share a simple yet beautifully decorative way to alter a collar. By adding a few small pearls, the collar will not only be streamlined, but also become a striking focal point, making the shirt look more elegant and sophisticated. First, I still fold the collar in half to ensure both sides are symmetrical. However, instead of marking just one center point like in the previous 2 tips, this time I'll mark 2 opposite points. Next, I start sewing from the inside of the collar to hide the knot. I insert the needle from the inside out at the marked point, then pierce the needle diagonally downwards. Once the first stitch is complete, I immediately thread a pearl through the thread. Next, I pierce the needle diagonally upwards again. Then, I continue piercing diagonally downwards and thread another pearl. In this way, each time I complete a stitch, I add another pearl. The continuous interwoven stitches will keep the pearls evenly spaced on the collar, creating a very neat and eye-catching decorative row. I continue repeating this process until I reach the end of the section that needs fixing. During the stitching process, you should try to keep the distance between the pearls relatively even so that when finished, the row of pearls will be straighter and more beautiful, making the shirt look as refined as a ready-made product. After stitching the entire required section, I gently pull the thread. At this point, the stitches will gradually move closer together, pulling the collar closer as desired. At the same time, the pearls are arranged closely and neatly on the surface of the collar, cleverly concealing the seams while creating a prominent decorative detail. Finally, I adjust the folds to be perfectly balanced and secure the thread on the inside of the shirt. So, the final trick is complete. With just a few stitches and a bit of creativity in incorporating small pearls, the shirt with the wide neckline now not only fits better, but also has an elegant touch, making it look much fresher and more appealing. So today, Ruby Home has shared with you 3 simple ways to fix a loose collar at home. Each method is very easy to do, making the collar neater and adding a beautiful touch to your shirt. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this tip helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Ruby Home channel. See you in the next videos.